Hey, it's me, MLB. Here is chapter 23 of Why You, Why Me, and it's titled Operation Parent Meet. The next day, Bakugou called you. Hey, he said briskly. Hey, you replied with a giant smile that he couldn't see through the phone but could definitely hear from the happiness in your voice. Want to go on that date this weekend? He asked lowly. He sounded like he was a little embarrassed, actually, about asking you on a date. Is this the first time he's ever asked someone on a date before? You thought. Sure, you replied chirpily. Okay, good. Where's something nice? I'm taking you out somewhere special. You oohed into the phone and got a sharp curse in reply. He was trying, bless him. He wasn't used to being mushy, but you were so precious to him that he wanted to do anything and everything right to please you. He made some quick time additions and the place to meet, and then said a hurried goodbye and hung up. You smiled down at your phone. You knew it was just his awkward shyness that was making him like this. You happily slipped your phone in your pocket and skipped to the kitchen where your family was making afternoon snacks. You greeted them all warmly and grabbed yourself some biscuits and then sat at the table to chat and eat. We should go out for dinner tonight, your grandma said randomly from her seat at the end of the table. Everyone stopped what they were doing and just looked at her. That sounds good, your mum said with a smile. Any reason to not have to cook is good enough for me. Everyone else agreed, and Grandma suggested the sushi train place just down the road. It was set. You were excited to be going out. 6 p.m. rolled around and everyone was almost ready to leave. You picked up Bakugou's hoodie, just for comfort's sake, and then waited with everyone at the door, then followed them out, making small talk as you all walked to the shop. Once inside, Grandma insisted that everyone sit along the table facing the trays of the sushi going past. No one complained, so you just took orders and sat down on the high stool bars. Your grandma seemed quite intent on seating positions and put your mum and dad closest to the door, where there were more empty seats next to them. You thought nothing of it. A few more minutes rolled by and you were picking the sushi dishes off the conveyor belt when the door to the shop tinkled open and you looked up to see who had entered. Your mouth fell open. It was Mitsuki and Masaru, Bakugou's parents. Mitsuki saw the look on your face and winked, making her way over to your parents and acting as if she had just come to eat. She asked if she could sit next to them, and your mother obliged, and then they made small talk while Mitsuki picked out some dishes to eat. You were still staring, dumbfounded, when your grandma nudged you. Stop staring, dear, let them be, she whispered, continuing to pick dishes off the conveyor, unfazed. You looked back down at your food and whispered quietly back to her, Is this the operation that you and Mitsuki were talking about? She nodded slightly with a devilish smile. And it's working perfectly, she chuckled. You looked back down the line and saw both his and your parents were having quite a good chat by now. Where's Katsuki? You asked Grandma, returning your gaze to her. He's coming later, she replied softly. He's coming? You hissed in a low tone. Yes, dear, don't worry, it's all going to work out well. She gave you a wink as she reached for the soy sauce. You hummed an unsure noise and went back to your food. Suddenly your phone vibrated in your pocket and you pulled it out. Oi, what the heck is going on? The new message from Katsuki said. Are you here? You sent back, glancing at the door and seeing a shadow move behind a pillar. Yeah, out front. Why are you guys here? Grandma, you sent back. She set this up. Your mum is in on it too. It's that operation thing that they were talking about at your place. Wingma, came his reply. I won't come in yet. I'm early anyway. I'll wait outside. Okay, you sent back, exiting the chat and sliding your phone into your pocket. The butterflies had taken over your stomach now, and you couldn't eat any more, so you just pushed the food around your plate, praying everything would work out okay. Yin, your mum called suddenly from down the line. You jumped violently. Yes, you yelped back. Your mum looked at you strangely for a second. This is Mitsuki and Masaru, she said, gesturing to them. Hello, you replied politely, trying not to let your nerves show in your smile. They have a boy about your age, and they live close to here, your mum added, doing her best to play matchmaker. She's going to die when she finds out, you thought. Suddenly you heard the squealing of tyres and an explosion, followed by profanities untamed. You looked up just as a car came crashing through the side of the shop. Another explosion shot from the front door, and you jumped off your seat before being knocked to the ground. The car had ploughed head-on into the sushi train restaurant and had knocked you all flying. You hit the ground and tried to pick yourself up, but the counter had collapsed onto your legs, pinning you to the ground. You let out a fearful cry and looked around wildly. All of your family and Bakugou's parents had been trapped under the counter, and you cried out when you saw the car had come to a stop over your parents. Your dad was bleeding badly from the head, and your mum was unconscious. Suddenly a familiar voice was above you. "Don't move, babe, I got you." You looked up, it was Katsuki, and he was mad. And there ends chapter 23. Stay tuned for chapter 24.